Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. I am John Clark, along with Mike Quick and Ike Reese. And how about that? The Eagles, they have 2 road wins. They're coming off that big win at Carolina. Short week now facing Tampa Bay, the Super Bowl champions. Could they get their first win at home? Hey, Ike Reese, obviously this is a short turnaround, a short week coming off the road trip to Carolina. You've got Tampa Bay, the Super Bowl champions, coming in here, Ike Reese. For you guys, when you see the scheme that Nick Sirianni has come up with, what do you like the most about what you're seeing with the scheme?
I like the fact that the offense is becoming more explosive. Nick Sirianni giving his guys the opportunity to make plays down the field, trusting the quarterback to put the ball in the right place. I mean, it makes these weapons that much more dangerous. You can't spoon feed an offense in this league and expect to have success. You got to make sure that they're able to take big chunks of plays at a time, and that's what you're starting to see with this offense.
With all the speed of these skilled position players, they've got to get those explosive plays.
Yep.
And what do you like with this young group? You've got some rookies and young players. You just mentioned skill players on offense. What do you like that you're seeing?
You know I'm a wide receiver guy, and I like Devontae Smith and what he's starting to do and showing what he did at Alabama, that he can transfer that to the next level and do it in the National Football League. He's going to be a stud for a long time.
And you've got that Temple flavor again. The Eagles are going to be facing a defense led by a former Temple coach. This time it's Todd Bowles with the Tampa Bay Bucs. With more on the enemy intel on Tampa Bay, here is Greg Cosell.
It doesn't matter who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers put out on defense, because this defense starts with the coordinator, Todd Bowles. And there are a couple of things you definitely know you're going to see from Bowles. One is pressure, and that's from all different looks. Another is a lot of single high safety coverage. You don't see a lot of split safety from Todd Bowles. So that's the starting point, and you must be able to deal with their pressure concepts. One thing they like to do, we saw it last year in their Super Bowl season, we've seen it this year through the early part of the season. They like to line up in double mug looks, where they have 2 defenders on each side of the offensive center in the A gaps. And we can go back to week 2 against the Atlanta Falcons. And Matt Ryan has been doing this a long time. He's seen a lot. But what they do here is they line up their 2 linebackers, Levante David and Devin White, in the A-gaps. And normally, teams block that with the center and the running back. And that's exactly what the Falcons will do here. But the Bucs add a wrinkle. It's a stunt with William Goldston looping behind, and he gets a clean run at Matt Ryan. Ryan sees him, feels him, and has to throw the ball early, and it's intercepted by Mike Edwards as the result of pressure. And that's a concept that Todd Bowles really likes, A-gap pressure. So that's something the Eagles will have to be aware of. And the other part of that is coverage. Now we know that this team has suffered a lot of injuries in the secondary. But one thing is certain, they will be aggressive and they will attack, because Todd Bowles is not one to sit back and be reactive. He will be proactive attacking the Eagles. Now the one concern is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a movement player, and you have to be very careful with pressure that you don't allow him to escape out of the pocket and make plays with his legs. But this defense is a difficult defense to prepare for and a difficult defense to play against. And it all starts with Todd Bowles. He will challenge you and he will dictate.
All right, so you see that aggressive Bucs defense led by Todd Bowles. What are some of the things the Eagles can do with the blitzes coming to counteract all of that, Mike Quick?
Yeah, they got to slow them down. You know, a little screen game here and there would certainly help. I think the most important thing, though, is getting the football out of the quarterback's hands quickly. Misdirection, screen game, they like to run and they'll go fast to your first movement, so you've got to make sure that the ball is coming out. They're going to blitz, they're going to come after you, they'll break down your protection. The ball has to get out quickly.
Yeah, you don't have a ton of success running against this team. You can look at the numbers. Teams sometimes just decide to give up on the run before they even come into the game. But I think you still have to keep this defense honest. So at times you're going to have to run the ball. But then there are also supplemental ways that you can run the football, as Mike just mentioned, getting the ball out quick, particularly out on the edges. I think back to the opening game of the season against the Dallas Cowboys, and that's a lot of what the Dallas Cowboys were able to do, was get the ball on the perimeter to their wide receivers and sort of use that as the running game. But I still believe you got to at least try to run the ball every once in a while.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by Your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by Pepsi, your official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles.
Hunt! Break! There we go. Hey, that's where you get, Jack. You get yourself in that position. That's where it's, hey, take off, rip, and go, possibly.
As a tight end, I always say it's the second hardest position to play. I mean, you're playing running back, you're playing offensive line, you're playing wide receiver. And to understand the big picture of what the quarterback's thinking and what we're thinking in the run game and things, you have to know everything. You know, with the background of playing quarterback, you know, I've always taught the position and try to coach the position from the eyes of the quarterback, especially in the passing game, you know, with releases or tops of routes. If, you know, what's the quarterback looking at? If you're going to outside release on this route, you know, the quarterback's going to get off of you. So I think that's always kind of been the approach, because I think those guys want to know that. They want to know, hey, what's Jalen thinking here on this read or whatever it is, to give themselves the best opportunity to open up and make a play in the passing game.
Back into it good, Dallas. That's it. That's what gets it going. Just like last week, that inside post on it to where we get this thing vertical.
Well, great stuff there from Eagles tight ends coach Jason Michael. The Eagles hoping to get those tight ends involved in this game against Tampa Bay Bucs. This week for tape study, though, I want to transition over to the defensive side of the football. Obviously, a big test here going up against Tom Brady, Bruce Arians. You know to expect a vertical passing attack. The Bucs coming off a huge offensive performance this past week in Week 5. Now you've got another test here for this Eagles secondary, and we know the identity. We know that they like to play two deep safeties. We call them split safeties, where they're going to basically split the field in half and account for the deep part of the field. And what does that do? While it leaves for a little bit of a lighter box in the run game, it's going to try and prevent the explosive pass plays. So we're going to take a look back a couple weeks ago, the last time the Eagles faced a downfield passing attack with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs are trying to run a vertical route concept attacking down the field. What does Patrick Mahomes see when he drops back? Well, he's got those two deep safeties, Rodney McLeod basically playing from FDR Park across the street from Lincoln Financial Field. He's trying to take away that deep pass from Tyreek Hill. So Patrick Mahomes doesn't like it, and he has to settle for the check down. So often in this game, we saw this from Patrick Mahomes, where he's padding, and now he's got to settle for an underneath throw. The Eagles were able to take away a lot of those vertical deep shot elements from the Chiefs passing game. Now, the other thing that you like, if you're a defensive coordinator playing with those two deep safeties, not only are you trying to take away the deep throw, but if the quarterback does want to pull the trigger and say, all right, we're going to try and test this, those windows are tighter. And we saw that last week against the Carolina Panthers. Huge play here in this game where, once again, you've got a split safety look here from the Eagles. And you're going to have Rodney McLeod. He's going to account over the top of Darius Slay, who's playing as a cloud corner against wide receiver DJ Moore. He's going to work vertically down the field. This is going to be a tight window for Sam Darnold. Again, you've got Rodney McLeod as a deep safety. You've got Darius Slay as the cloud corner, and Slay does an outstanding job of syncing with eyes on the quarterback, and he sees this throw from start to finish. And watch Slay as he climbs the ladder and makes an outstanding interception there at the top of the route. That's the thing when you have those two high safeties. You shrink down those passing game windows, and again, you're all about trying to prevent the explosive play down the field. And last week was a great example, right? We saw 3 interceptions from Darius Slay and Steven Nelson. Outstanding job by that duo of Eagles corners. Even Avonte Maddox making that great pass breakup down the field. Again, those split safety looks, they make it tougher for the quarterback. Now, one of the other things you love about the split safety defense is that it's a lot easier to disguise your coverage. And a couple weeks ago against Kansas City, going back to that game, I thought we saw a great example of that. Look at Patrick Mahomes as he is here under center. He's surveying the field, and you've got split safeties. So that's what he thinks he's got before the snap. You've got two safeties, Anthony Harrison and Rodney McLeod, deep down the field. This is going to be a play action shot play where you're going to get receivers attacking, once again, the vertical part of the field. And after Patrick Mahomes takes the snap, he's going to turn his back to the defense on play action. But what happens? The defensive picture changes. You're going to get one safety rolling down. You're going to get another safety rolling to the post. So now when Patrick Mahomes turns his back to look down the field, he doesn't have a split safety defense. He's got Rodney McLeod rolled down. You've got Anthony Harris rolling in the post. And so this route that he thought he was going to have, watch, look at where he's looking for. He's hoping to get Travis Kelce Well, that route is taken away by Rodney McLeod. And so that disguise there from the Eagles defense forces another check down from Patrick Mahomes. You've got a bunch of green jerseys rallying to the football. That's a successful play on the defensive side of the football. So to wrap this up, Eagles going up against a vertical passing game with Tom Brady and the Bucs. You're going to try and take away some of those vertical shots with these split safety looks. What's the positive? You're forcing more checkdowns. You're also going to create tighter windows. So if the quarterback does want to try and attack it, well, now your defensive back can make plays on the football, and you also can disguise your coverages a little bit better. Is it a perfect defense? No, because guess what? There's no such thing as a perfect defense in this sport. That's one of the beauties of football, is that everybody's always going to try different things here and there. The Eagles have done a nice job of preventing these explosive plays downfield. That will be the big test against Tom Brady and the Bucs on Thursday night.
Yeah! We're back in this thing, baby. All we gotta do is believe, you know what I'm saying?
Guys, there was no quit in us the whole day. Defense, unbelievable job. Unbelievable job. Guys, that is what a team does. That's what a team does. When one unit's down, the other ones pick them up. Man, if you're not emotional, this is what it's all about, guys. We put too much into this not to freaking love this right here. Unbelievable team win. Unfreaking believable. Now, we got a short week. All right? We got a short week. We got 4 days. We got to get our bodies right in 4 days. We got to be here mentally. All right, you're ready to go out there and build on this. Now turn that music up. Let's go.
Always good to see the inside of games and those mic'd up segments. Now, Eagles defense, you've seen some good, you've seen some bad. That's the facts of life, right? But tell me who you want to see step it up as the season gets going here, Ike Reese.
Well, I'm excited about what this secondary has the opportunity to do. And I'm looking at the two corners. You know, we got Darius Big Play Slay here. We brought in Steven Nelson. The more that Jonathan Gannon gets a chance to understand his personnel, they're going to be placed in a position where they can make plays. And I expect to see some of that as the season goes on.
And obviously the engine of this Eagles defense is that defensive line. When you have Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox, as we see, getting going together, how important is that? And what do you do as an offense to try to go against those two?
I don't know how you can, when you get them both going, I don't know how you can really stop them. You can't double team both of them. One of these guys is going to get a single matchup, and the guy with the single matchup should be winning every time.
I'll tell you another thing that'll help those guys in the inside out is that the outside pressure, whether it's Josh Sweat, whether it's Derek Barnett, Ryan Kerrigan, starting to be effective from that outside is also going to force offensive lines and their protections to pay attention to the outside pass rushers, and that's going to free up the inside for guys like Fletcher and Javon.
And when you watch the get-off of Josh Sweat, I think he's got one of the best get-offs in football, and now he's also developed that move back to the inside. He has the speed and power on the outside. He can convert that speed to power, but he also has that move where he can now go underneath the tackle and put pressure on the quarterback, so that's really going to pay off.
Well, amazingly, Tom Brady's almost got as quick of a release now as he did in his earlier years. That's pretty amazing. He likes to get the ball out quick, doesn't like that pressure. So with more on that Tampa Bay offense coming to town, here is Enemy Intel with Greg Cosell.
I can't tell you a whole lot more about Tom Brady than hasn't already been said before. So let's talk a little more about the concepts in the Bucs passing game. Because every pass game, no matter who your quarterback is, starts with concepts. And one thing that has really stood out with this Bucs passing game has been their use of bunch formations. They're very difficult to defend, both in man coverage and in zone coverage. And we know that the Eagles play a really good percentage of zone coverage. That's really the foundation of defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon. Now, a lot of people think about bunch and they think man because it's very difficult to play bunch in man, but it's also effective versus zone. And there's a play from week 2 of this season against the Atlanta Falcons that really reflects that. And it's against a split safety zone coverage, something that the Bucs will see from the Eagles. So look what you have here. You have a tight bunch close to the formation to the wide side of the field. And the point man in the bunch is Chris Godwin. The outside receiver is Antonio Brown, and inside is Cameron Brate, the tight end. And it's really a 3-man concept. Because what happens here is Brown on the outside will run vertically. He wants to control the safety to that side. But then you get the high-low concept, and that's really the critical piece here. You get Cameron Brady running the short route, and that controls the underneath defender. And then you get Godwin, the point man in the bunch, running the intermediate route behind the underneath defender. And as we said, the safety can't get there because Brown has controlled him with his vertical stem. So this is a really well done concept to attack split safety zone coverage by the Bucs. And it becomes a pitch and catch throw for Tom Brady with room to run for Godwin. So this is something based on film study that the Eagles have to be aware of. And more than likely, we will see the Eagles in zone coverage, split safety coverage. So this will be a challenge because we know that Tom Brady, one of his best traits is understanding what he sees, and then secondly, precise ball location.
Hey, Greg was talking about that Bucs scheme right there, and when you have the talented offense that they have, all the weapons, and you've got the GOAT, Tom Brady, how do you try to slow down Tom Brady in this offense?
Well, I mean, the recipe for success against Tom Brady hasn't changed throughout his 20 years. Now, it's easier to have the game plan than actually going out there and implement it. But getting pressure on him has always been the thing that affected Tom Brady the most. We know he's not the most fleet of foot, so we know where he's going to be at, right there in the pocket. It's going to be key that Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox are able to collapse that pocket from the middle. Now, as most defenses, it works in tandem, meaning you got to hold up on the back end. Don't give Tom Brady the easy throws so that he gets rid of the ball as quickly as he wants to. Force him to hold that ball, put the pressure on him up front. He doesn't like to be hit like most quarterbacks. And once you start to hit Tom Brady, it affects him and where he's going with the football.
And we talked about this skill set that they have and the receivers. You've got some big receivers, guys who do not drop the football. How do you go against them as an Eagles defense?
I think it's tough. I think you have to stay to Jonathan Gannon's core philosophy as a defense. You make sure that you keep everything underneath. But when you look at Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and then Fournette, you got Fournette coming out of the backfield. He's catching passes now. So Tom Brady has a lot of variety, has a lot of places to go with the football. I think you have to have that umbrella over that offense and make sure that underneath that umbrella, you try and limit the big plays and the chunk plays. But he's also a patient guy, and he'll just chunk you down the field if you allow him to. But as Ike said, you have to get pressure in his face and try and create some type of problem, some type of error, some type of mistake from that offense.
All right, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and the Super Bowl champs are in town. Ike Reese, for this young coaching staff led by Nick Sirianni, this is the first time he's trying to prepare a team on a short week. What are the challenges?
Well, it's always a challenge for coaches on a short week as to how much to give their team to prepare them for the next game. Do I put enough in there that's going to allow us to be successful, or do I take stuff out and then I'm worried about did I give them enough to be successful? That's always the key on a short week. Make sure you give your players offensively and defensively just enough that they can go out there and play fast, be decisive, and play with confidence. But also at the same time, you don't want to overwhelm them with too much information in the game plan. So that's the biggest thing for a young coaching staff or any coaching staff that's preparing for a short week for the first time.
But guys, do they have enough time to prepare for Todd Bowles and all the things that he likes to do defensively? Right. He's going to bring pressure, and he's got the guys to bring pressure. You know, Shaq Barrett coming off one side, JPP coming off the other side, and they just have so many ways that they can create pressure. Will the Eagles have enough time to prepare for all the things that they like to do defensively?
And for all the former Temple coaches, including Bruce Arians, probably the first time Bruce has led a team into the Link. Of course, they used to play somewhere else other than Link when he was at Temple. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. He is Ike Reese. He's Mike Quick. I'm John Clark. Thanks a lot and enjoy the game. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by Pepsi, your official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles.